In a world where every season seems to come with prescribed social media trends and expectations, how do you envision your own summer story? As we scroll through social media these days, we're bombarded with endless streams of summer goal content. While social media can inspire us, it's important to remember that these curated moments don't define what makes a meaningful summer. The concept of seasonal trends, while initially empowering, can sometimes morph into restrictive expectations to make us feel like we're falling short of some idealized standard. Let's be real. Summer isn't about following some cookie cutter template for living your best life. It's about figuring out who you are, creating experiences that actually mean something to you, and finding joy in ways that feel authentic to who you are at the moment. I've spent a lot of time analyzing lifestyle trends, and it's fascinating how these seasonal vibes reveal what we collectively value and desire. Yes, keeping up with trends can be exhausting, but they do show us what we're all going through and hoping for, because there is always a deeper meaning to what is being popularized. Here's the thing, instead of completely ignoring or blindly following trends, we can appreciate game-changing movements like Hot Girl Summer. Obviously, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion for revolutionizing how we think about summer confidence in 2019 while also writing our own stories. Think of trends as inspiration rather than rules. Take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't, and create something that's just genuinely yours. This way you can be a part of a collective moment while staying true to yourself. In this episode, I will be talking about the vibe I'm going for summer 2025, and I'm planning to end off with a general list so you can have a blueprint for intentional lifestyle design pattern. So, before I continue this episode, I should probably introduce myself. Hi, my name is Elijah, but you can call me Lay. Welcome back to A Little Atypical, where we dive into all things wellness, personal development, and lifestyle topics. If you're enjoying the show and these conversations, I'd love it if you could take a quick second to leave a 5-star review and drop a comment. And don't forget to hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. Your support means the world to me and helps other amazing people find our little community. Before jumping into the energy I'm embracing for the summer, let's discuss our tendency to label seasons as insert term girl summer. While some might find this need to label things irritating, I believe there are two very compelling reasons behind this behavior. So the first reason is rooted in psychology and our need for clarity. While social media has broadened our horizons and made diverse lifestyles more accessible, it also intensified our identity crisis. When we label our seasons like Hot Girl Summer or being in our villain era, we're not just setting intentions, we're creating anchors for our identity in a constantly shifting digital landscape. Think about how we formed our identities growing up. Through our hobbies, our roles as students, our friend groups, and even our childhood dreams about adult life. We see this pattern reflect everywhere in media, from books to movies, shaping how we view ourselves. This tendency to define ourselves through labels isn't just about following trends, but it's like a fundamental human need for self-definition. And as adults, we continue this pattern of identity building through various markers. So our careers often become all-consuming, influencing what we learn and how we spend our time. Our roles, like being a parent or a partner, or even specific life stages. So think about all those day in the life as a 20-something-year-old living alone videos. While it's easy to judge these forms of self-categorization, they often serve as an important identity markers that helps us make sense of our lives and find our place in an increasingly complex world. And I just wanted to throw this in because there is so many ways we do this. And for some people, that may be turning into their religious beliefs. For other people, it's to turn into these trends. And I think when we honestly start seeing these things as more of trying to defy ourselves and trying to have clarity about who we are, what we're doing in this life, and all sorts of things, that we become less judgmental towards what other people are doing, right? The second reason stems from my marketing background and kind of like this extensive study of consumer behavior. So, from a marketing perspective, these seasonal labels create incredible, profitable opportunities for brands to curate kind of like cohesive product lines and experiences. This summer, for example, is apparently like Guava Girl Summer in the fashion and beauty space. Brands have embraced this trend by incorporating like tangy colors in their products or weaving like tropical vibes in their imagery and even featuring guava as a core ingredient in their like latest launches. And consider the role of influencers in this ecosystem, specifically those who focus more on product and visual aesthetics rather than like philosophy type content. These content creators are essentially marketers with enhanced creative freedom. If they didn't have their unique personal brands and ability to connect with audiences, many would likely be traditional marketers or sales professionals. The relationship between brands and influencers create this mutually beneficial cycle where trends flourish and evolve. And I know that's what a lot of people don't want to hear, but coming from a more business standpoint, so the first reason was obviously a human standpoint of something we all do, but coming from a business perspective, that is kind of where things stand. So with that being said, summer 2025 for me is Witty and Whimsy Summer. And how I would describe it is romantic, but not in the sense of the traditional way. Whimsy has been a word that has been thrown around a lot leading up to the summer months. And even before it had a specific term, I was doing actions and specific behaviors that fit underneath that umbrella. I view whimsy as an extension of romanticizing your life, but less about finding the beauty in the mundane, but more about the actions you can do to make everything feel more magical. The term romantic seemed like the perfect description because of my journey with decentering romantic relationships. I also felt like I don't want romance to be defined by whether I'm dating someone or not, but about allowing myself to feel a strong emotional connection and a level of intimacy in the day to day. And I guess this revelation came to me because I was thinking about how growing up, especially when you had multiple crushes, it made me think it was less about a specific person, but more about wanting something to look forward to and to have a strong connection outside of yourself. But I don't think that it has to be a specific person. I also think when you make that energy non-negotiable, that it attracts people who fit into that way of living anyway. So whimsy to me is also about curated joy. I feel like people are moving away from searching for happiness by being selective about joy. It isn't about consumerism per se, but more about intentions. As for Witty, I added this to the main core of this summer because in terms of energy, I view summer as a comeback. And I would describe this comeback as amusing intelligence, When you look up the word witty, it is categorized by speed and being in the moment, able to respond to something very fast, like make those quick remarks. But it can also be described as connecting to or more things that seem unrelated, and by creating that unique connection between them, it can also be described as witty energy. So I had this thought about how, because life is essentially cause and effect, we can also look at it as inquiring versus responding. And for me personally, I spent so much time inquiring the first half of 2025. I'm just ready to respond to the newness that formed from it. as witty as possible. Besides that, I would also describe it as being open to trying new things and new ways of being instead of operating from the same energy I started 2025 with. I also want to clarify it isn't because of how I was acting was actually negative, but since there has been changes in my life since I started, and when I did start, it was from a place of things needing to be built, and now I just feel like things need to be adjusted for sustainable purposes. So overall, I would kind of describe witty as the way I approach actions and behaviors, while whimsy is more about the feeling I want to emulate at this time. Honestly, I had a hard time thinking about how I'm going to describe this, but I decided I was going to organize this more based on my goals / current mindset, trends that made this a solid choice for me, and then get into the elements and symbols, and then wrap up before sharing a mini guide to help you plan your own energy. I hope by hearing my thought process, it gives you a better idea of what to look into for creating your own vibe. And obviously, even though I center this around summer, this is for any time you feel like you need to shake things up in general. Let me start with how my Witty and Whimsy Summer aligns with my goals and my overall approach to personal growth. When revisiting my 2025 vision board, I noticed a consistent theme: reclaiming my spark, prioritizing self-care, and shifting from a reactive to proactive mindset. I chose to focus on 3 key areas this year, which was health, career, and kind of like an intellectual development. One valuable lesson I've learned is that constantly switching goal priorities leads to burnout. So instead, I now select core areas to focus for during the entire year and adjusting my approach each quarter. So quarter 1 typically serves as an experimental phase where I explore different strategies. Quarter 2 brings higher energy and intensity, matching spring's natural momentum. But when quarter 3 arrives, I intentionally slow down, which might seem counterintuitive to some, but it works perfectly for my natural rhythm. Summer naturally draws me towards a gentler approach to goal setting and emphasizing presence over constant planning. This isn't new for me. Last summer's podcast episodes centered around slow and intentional living because that's what resonates with me during these months. While my goals remain constant, my methods become more fluid and relaxed. This seasonal shift also affects my content strategy. As a wellness, personal development type podcast, many of my audience members tend to spend more time offline during the summer months, enjoying in-person connections. So I'm considering adjusting my posting schedule. Options include taking a break in July and August completely, releasing monthly long-form episodes, so only 1 episode for July, 1 episode for August, or maintaining my current posting schedule with shorter, more casual content. Finding the right balance between consistency and seasonal adaptation is honestly key. The Witty and Whimsy vibe perfectly embodies this summer approach. While I'm still committed to my core focuses of health, career, and learning, I'm embracing a more relaxed pace in this quarter 3. It feels natural to slow down, be more present, and find balance in these warmer months. As my audience, myself included, gravitates more offline time during the summer, I'm exploring more flexibility around many aspects of my life. It is about finding that balance between maintaining consistency and allowing space for summer's natural flow. The Witty and Whimsy approach isn't just a catchy phrase, although I think it's personally very cute. It's a thoughtful strategy that helps me achieve my goals while maintaining that touch of summer magic. As someone who's career and personal interest revolves around analyzing trends and lifestyle patterns, I find myself drawn to observing and understanding cultural shifts. Being an observational and curious person has served me well in this space. While my personal goals shape the foundation of this summer vibe, broader cultural trends have also aligned perfectly with and validate this choice. From color psychology to just little things on social media, I'm going to share current trends that naturally gravitate towards this witty and whimsy energy. First off, the color trend of butter yellow perfectly aligns with the whimsical aspect. It's soft, dreamy, and reminds me of sunshine filtering through curtains on a lazy summer morning. In color psychology, yellow represents optimism, creativity, and also could represent intellectual energy, perfectly bridging both the witty and whimsical elements. Then the "she was a fairy" sound on TikTok, okay? So that gained so much traction, showcasing how creators were blending like traditional whimsical aesthetics with more confident, modern baddie energy. And it also kind of taught like how vibes that contrast can still coexist in an authentic and engaging way. And looking into Pinterest 2025 predictions for trends, so many on there directly supported the energy I was feeling. So first off, they listed dolled up as a trend with its focus on like whimsical colors and cute aesthetics, perfectly embodying like the playful side of whimsy, while aura beauty expresses the idea of expressing your inner world outwardly, a very witty way to kind of redefine personal style. And then they also mentioned like these trends they called one Rococo Revival and the other one Goddess Complex. And both of these trends speak to embracing ornate beauty and graceful empowerment. But what made me most interested is how they could be interpreted through a witty lens, taking these grand kind of like historical references and making them personally relevant and slightly playful. It is so interesting how these trends reflect a larger shift in how we approach lifestyle design, moving away from basically rigid energy towards a more personalized, playful interpretation. And it is exactly what witty and whimsy energy is about, combining clever, intentional choices with a sense of like magic and joy. So now for the part I was most excited to get to, because I feel like in this section you can mostly see how I'm viewing this summer outside of mindset and trends, but honestly, the type of imagery and actions that really has put together the vision, you know? So I'm going to just keep this section casual because I know this episode is probably going to be very long. So I'm just going to list off a few things. Food, fruits, and anything that gives like refreshing energy. I've been gravitating towards berries and cherries lately and incorporating it constantly in my meals. But I've also been craving things like pineapples, kiwi, peaches, and plums. Scent, matcha. Unconventional opinion, but I'm not a huge fan of the actual beverage. But I got the Method body wash and the Laneige lip mask, which is both matcha inspired. I love the scent of the soap, and I preferred the matcha lip mask over the taro one, even though I love taro as a drink. Also for scents, I wanted to use for the summer, I actually really like the K Alley Sparkling Lychee fragrance, but since they didn't have it available at the Sephora I went to, I ended up getting the Tiger Lily version of the Flower Bomb. If it wasn't obvious, I don't believe in signature scents because sometimes I like fragrance to be associated with an experience, and every time you wear it, it kind of takes you back to that moment, or it gets associated with a specific characteristic you want to embody. So I'm just going to list off the rest of random things that was like in my vision. So sketching, confetti cookies, cleaning slash decorating a space, books, being on the beach in a white dress playing in the water, a work setup by a sunny window, being outside for sunrise, groceries including greens and fruits, a camera, and a quote saying she designed a life she loved. What this summer overall means to me is it's about balancing productivity with pure enjoyment. While I dedicated much of this year to professional growth and learning, I realized that I needed to make more room for spontaneous energy and being more joyful. And this summer is my opportunity to find that balance. When was the last time I lived in the moment without thinking about what's next? Honestly, probably last summer, if I'm being honest. It's draining to always feel like you always need to be on, you know? Like you're constantly racing to stay ahead. That's why this summer I'm taking a conscious choice to slow down and find that balance. And honestly, here's what gets me. Why do we act like being an adult means everything has to be so serious all the time? Like, sure, there are things we should be too grown for, like not communicating clearly or avoiding tough conversations. But who made the rule that growing up means giving up on play and joy? I want to acknowledge that there are very real challenges we're all facing, both globally and personally. These aren't simple times, and everyone's struggles deserve to be recognized and honored. At the same time, I've come to understand that intentionally cultivating joy isn't about denying these difficulties, it's about building emotional resilience. By consciously choosing to seek out moments of light, we are creating a sustainable way to navigate through challenging times while still remaining present and compassionate to the complexities of life. We can acknowledge our reality while nurturing our spirits. And with that being said, here is a simplified list of how you can create your own vibe. 1. Ask yourself important questions to select the mindset and energy you want to have. 2. Choose something to represent the vibe. It could be a color, a fruit, an animal, a book slash movie slash TV show character, a music album, or even like your own curated playlist, you know? 3, create a vision board using symbols, color swatches, color palettes, words. Look at the word, but also choose a font that represents the energy of it, you know? Quotes, textures, layout composition, mood setting imagery, nature inspired elements for the season. Put all of those things and make your vision board. 4, design your daily rituals, habits, and routines that aligns with your chosen vibe. Morning routines, evening wind downs, self-care practices, all that. 5, create a playlist that captures the energy and the emotions of the vibe you chosen. If you didn't do that for like your original step that I mentioned for the second one, you can also just add that additionally. 6, curate your wardrobe to reflect your seasonal aesthetics. Choose fabrics, styles, and pieces that embody your vibe. Of course, if you don't want to spend money on new things, you can take what you have and just be more selective about when you wear it. You can choose very specific colors from your closet. There's always like little free ways of doing this, okay? 7, plan activities and experiences that reinforce your chosen energy, from daily habits, obviously, to making special occasions. And remember, you don't have to wait for other people to make the occasion special. 8, document your journey. Either start a journal, blog, photo collection to track how your vibe manifests in your daily life. 9, connect with others who share or appreciate your chosen vibe. You can find your community online or in person. 10, be flexible and allow your vibe to evolve naturally throughout the season. Remember, this is not about perfection. Curating your seasonal vibe isn't about following someone else's playbook or conforming to social media trends. It is about crafting an intentional approach that authentically reflects who you are and where you're at in your life. Think about it as if you're composing a summer symphony where every element harmonizes with your personal rhythm. Throughout this guide, we've explored the witty and whimsy energy that resonates with my current season, but your story might call for something entirely different. Maybe you're drawn to Guava Girl Summer, or maybe you're inspired to make your own unique seasonal energy. What matters isn't the label you choose, but how genuinely it reflects your aspirations and allows you to show up as your truest self. Consider this your official permission slip to break free from summer narratives. Your summer story can be as dynamic or peaceful, as structured or fluid as you need it to be. The key is creating space for both intentional growth and spontaneous joy. And those moments can't be planned, but make life rich and meaningful. Also remember that your chosen vibe isn't meant to be rigid, but rather a gentle guide that evolves with you. Some days might flow perfectly with your vision, while other days it might challenge it. And whatever happens is perfectly okay. What matters is you're approaching the season with awareness and purpose while remaining open to life's natural ebbs and flows. After all, the most powerful vibe is one that makes you feel simultaneously grounded and inspired, one that honors both your ambition and your need for rest and play. It's about creating a summer experience that not only aligns with your goals, but nourishes your spirit and leaves room for the unexpected. So that is all for today, and we can jump into our card pull using both the Wild Spirit Animal deck and Moonology deck, because this is being released before the new moon on June 25th. And the day I'm actually recording this is June 20th, which is the summer solstice. And since Cancer is a sign ruled by the moon, it felt like it was important to do something a little more special. So remember, if this is usually where you click off, thank you for listening. Regardless of if this section is not your thing, if you enjoyed the rest of my content, be sure to come back, hang out, and follow the podcast because it makes it so much easier to be notified when something new is out. Okay, so when I was doing this reading, I did the Moonology deck first and got the Step Out of Your Comfort Zone, North Node. And then when I did the Animal Spirit deck, both the Dolphin and Owl card came out together, so I decided to keep both for the reading. North Node, Step Out of Your Comfort Zone. There's a strong feeling when you get this card that it's time to leave the past behind somehow, because you are headed in the right direction. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to get going towards doing the thing that scares you, within reason. This card is all about living your life purpose, which is possibly what you asked about. It's urging you to dare to do something different with your life and your direction, to take action. So are you willing to follow through and lead the life you intend to live? If you finally find the courage to make the leap, there's a good chance you'll come to ask yourself, why did I wait so long? Attuned to the moon. I know I'm headed in the right direction. Additional meanings for this card. You're headed for something which feels like destiny. You need to face a fear and get over it. Time to stop obsessing about someone or something. Stand on your own 2 feet. You've got this. The teaching. The North Node is where the moon crosses the ecliptic going north. It is a karmic point, and on the horoscope chart shows us what we need to do and where we need to go with our life to find satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness. The North Node is the karmic astrological point that reminds us to paraphrase Andre Gide, that in order to discover new oceans, we have to be prepared to lose sight of the shore. Dolphin. innately intelligent, healer, light, blessings. The gift of the dolphin are beyond our human minds can grasp. Dolphin personalities are often drawn to healing arts as they are sensitive to the subtle and enjoy working on the level of spirit. It's easy for dolphin types to underestimate the impact they make in the world. These creatures play such an important role in the wheel of karma that coming in contact with the dolphin type will change the entire course of your day and thus your life. This card can also indicate a profound blessing is on the way. When in balance, active healer, strong spiritual practice. When out of balance, underestimates own power to bring into balance like-minded spirits. Owl, abundance, clairvoyant, treasures. The owl is a mysterious and otherworldly creature found in folklore from east to west. The white owl in this particular deck is companion of the goddess Lakshmi and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. When the owl card appears, it's an omen that a boon or treasure is on the way, either in spiritual or material form. With owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon, how it can further serve your dharma and bring abundance to your world. Trust that the wellspring of treasures is infinite. When in balance, generous, trusting, secure. When out of balance, money quarrels, scarcity. To bring into balance, an offering. Okay, so usually I give an in-depth connection to the cards to this podcast, but I feel like the ones that came out are so direct and speaks volumes to the energy for the summer. And I know people who listen are very intelligent and intuitive, so I trust you can apply this reading to the context of your own life. As for what I'm grateful for, my mom gifted me something she knew I needed, and I know I probably say this so often, but she really is the most generous person and kind-hearted person I know. And I hope as my stress and confusion settles around my life that I get to be that person for someone else to pass on the positive energy, because having someone like her in my life and experiencing her as my mother just makes me feel so blessed. So that's it, my friends. You're a real one for making it to the end. Thank you for tuning into this episode of A Little Atypical. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might need to hear this message. Remember, view the description box where you can find important links such as the one to my website where there's so much more bonus content. Also, you will know what I decide for summer content at latest by mid-July, because if I decide to keep my current schedule but with shorter recordings, I would post the 7th. If I post July 14th, because I am posting once a month until September. And if I decide for a full break from the podcast, at the very least, I would probably be making content on my blog. So you'll just know. Okay? So until next time, have a good day, evening, or night, and stay authentically atypical. Okay. Bye.